What's up, Eagles fans, and happy holidays to everybody out there. It was not a pretty win for the Eagles on Christmas night, but for Greg Cosell, I'm Fran Duffy. We've got a lot to break down for you in the All-22 review presented by the Community College of Philadelphia. Let's start with the Eagles' opening touchdown drive. It happened on the second drive of the game, their only touchdown drive, and it started with the ground game. So, Greg, I mentioned this rushing attack, and we've seen over Doug Peterson's career here in Philadelphia that they attack defenses in so many different ways and a lot of creative schemes up front.
Yeah.
And we saw one early in this game, a nine-play run sequence where they carried the ball a lot on this opening drive. Show us here the wham concept as they used in this Eagles offense.
Well, what they did here, we've talked all year, Fran, about the wham concept.
Yep.
We've talked about the trap concept. Well, what they did here is they put the two together.
Yeah.
So what they did here is they took Selleck right here, and he's the wham blocker. He's going to wham on the three technique right there. But what they also do is they take Warmack right here, and he's going to trap the one technique right here. So this is a combination wham, trap, and they do this really effectively. So if you run it, you can keep your focus there, right there. Look at that. Look how it creates space right there. And what it does is it allows here, Aguilar does a great job getting up really to the third level. That's a corner. Really nice job by Smith. So the receivers do a great job. This is really well executed. It's really a creative run concept. We've talked all year about the multiple run game concepts that Doug Peterson and staff feature. This was really creative. They did it on the second drive, and it set up their only offensive touchdown.
Yeah, and that touchdown was a passing play. After 9 straight runs, they go through the air. Let's get to that play now. So, Greg, after 9 straight runs, the Eagles punched it into the end zone here from Nick Foles on a touchdown pass to Jay Ajayi. Show us what we're looking at here, a screen pass here to help get the Eagles into the end zone.
Yeah, they're in the high red zone at this point, meaning between the 10 and the 20-yard line. And it's really an extended run here. It's a perimeter type run, but it's just a screen. Because what you have here is trips to this side of the formation, and what these three receivers are going to do is they're simply going to release and clear. So this side of the field is now cleared out. That's their job. They're just lifting coverage. Because what you have with the screen, the two lead blockers will be Kelsey, the most athletic center in the league, and Warmack. They're going to be the lead blockers here. So let's clear the screen and see how this develops, Fran. And we can run this now, and you see right as Ajayi catches the ball right here, here's what you have. You have the two lead blockers going out. You see that the whole side has been cleared out.
Yep.
The coverage has been lifted. The numbers favor the Eagles because you have 2 blockers for 2 defenders. So this now is set up perfectly. You have the whole side of the field for Ajayi, and it's really well designed here. And you see as we clear it and let it run, really done well. Kelsey gets a great block. Warmack does just enough. Ajayi does the rest. Really well-designed play after 9 straight runs. Again, it's really just a perimeter run using the screen.
Yeah, the Eagles get up early, 7-0 here early in the first quarter. They would need this touchdown later on because there wasn't much offense after that drive, Greg. But the Eagles get on the end zone there with the screen pass from Foles to Ajayi. So the score is still 7-0 Eagles early in the second quarter, and the Raiders get on the board off a sluggo route, a double move on the outside, which is something we've seen now the last 2 weeks with this Eagles defense, Greg. Show us what we're seeing here, this long touchdown to Amari Cooper.
And it's something they'll have to get a little bit cleaned up here. This is now 2 weeks in a row that the secondary's been burned by sluggo, slant, and go. So what you have is Amari Cooper up here. He's the X receiver, the single receiver, and you've got Jalen Mills right here, one of the corners who was burned last week. And you also have a single high safety in McLeod, who theoretically is here to get over the top of any vertical route.
Yep.
But now what do you get? Is you get the slant element to this. So let's clear the screen, and you'll see the slant element. And also you have Derek Carr here, shows a little quick pump right there, boom. So what happens here is you have the slant part with Cooper. What do you see Mills doing? He's getting ready to jump that because he thinks the ball's coming out on the slant. And even if he's not thinking pick, he's certainly thinking, I want to disrupt the slant throw. And what do you get with McLeod? He's looking back at Derek Carr, and he thinks that there's going to be a short throw as well, a slant throw. So you have 2 defenders, mostly Mills, but 2 defenders that react to the slant part. But of course, what is it? It's slant and go or sluggo. And as you unfreeze it, here's what you get. It ends up being a pitch and catch type touchdown. They broke down Mills with the slant part, and McLeod also not in position to play over the top of that. So as we said, 2 weeks in a row, the Eagles have been burned by that. That's something they will have to get cleaned up.
Yeah, when you play off coverage and you rally to the football like the Eagles secondary does, you're always going to be prone to those double moves. The Raiders did get on the board there, tied the ball game up 7-7 going into halftime. So 7-7 going to halftime. The Raiders come out, they get a field goal, so it's now 10-7. And this game has gone back and forth, Greg. And now this is the first turnover of the game. It's a big play, 3rd and 5, and the Eagles get an interception here from Patrick Robinson.
Yeah, this was big because quite honestly, Fran, as we were watching the game, there was not a lot of offensive optimism at this point. So this was big 3rd down play. And what do the Eagles play here? They play cover 1, which is man-to-man with a single high safety, and they'll blitz as well. But the key part here is the man coverage, and Patrick Robinson, who's had a very, very good year playing in the slot, is matched on Seth Roberts. So that's the matchup to look for here. Again, they're going to blitz, but that won't be a big factor. It's more about the coverage here. So let's clear it and take this a little further, and we'll see as we freeze it right about here. That's perfect. You can clearly see the man coverage. It's man coverage all the way, okay, with the single, and McLeod is playing in the next state here, but that's okay. It's 3rd and 5. So this is where we want to focus right there. That's Robinson versus Roberts. That's the matchup. And what Robinson does really well is he undercuts this. Now, he knows he has help over the top. Yes, that help is deep, but he knows he has help over the top, particularly on in-breaking routes. So what he does is he undercuts that. The ball's thrown a little behind, but it's really well done by Patrick Robinson. You know what the key is? He understood the coverage concept. He understood that he could undercut the route because of the nature of the coverage. So that was really well played man-to-man coverage in a cover 1 concept.
So now this kind of starts a crazy seesaw here of turnovers because the Eagles get the football in Raiders territory. Jay Ajayi fumbles.
After a great run, by the way.
After a great run, now the Raiders get the football back. And on the very first play of the drive, the Eagles force a fumble on Marshawn Lynch. Not an easy thing to do. You brought that up. He rarely puts the ball on the ground. Let's break down exactly what happens here. It was a really interesting play, a fun play to break down.
Yeah, it's a really good defensive play. And a player who you probably have no idea was responsible for the way it played out was the one responsible. But here's the concept. It's what we call a G scheme, okay? It's a guard pulling scheme. Gabe Jackson is going to pull. There's a second puller, Rodney Hudson. This is the design of the play. 2 pullers, okay? Now, here is Brandon Graham right here. What Graham is going to do is he's going to slant hard inside off the snap of the ball. So what he's going to do is prevent Rodney Hudson, the center, from getting outside because the player that Hudson is responsible to get is Nigel Bradham. But Graham prevents that. Let's at least take a look at this because this is a critical piece of this puzzle right here. So keep your eyes focused there right now. See, boom, a little further if we could go. But that'll work right there. So there you go. Here's Graham coming hard inside. So ultimately Hudson can't get past Graham, who's right there, to get to Bradham. So Bradham becomes unblocked on the play side, essentially unblocked in the hole. But there's another part of this. That's on the backside, and that's Kendricks right here. Because Kendricks, from his alignment, this is really a difficult block for the rookie David Sharp here. This is a tough block, but Kendricks read this play. He sees the flow going that way, and he's flowing and scraping behind the line of scrimmage. That's critical, so he's also going to get play side in the hole untouched. So let's continue this. You'll see exactly what happens. Perfect. They caused the fumble. Eagles recover it. A really excellent play by the defense. It really started with Brandon Graham, and even though he wasn't in on the tackle and the fumble, it was what he did with his hard slant inside that set up that play.
So a pivotal play. The Eagles get the football back in the offense's hands. They respond with a field goal, ties it up 10-10. So now let's fast forward to the very first play of the fourth quarter. The score is still tied 10-10. The Eagles defense faces a 3rd down right around midfield. Greg, this is one of the biggest plays of the game. It's a sack fumble created by Chris Long, but there's a couple different elements that we want to really break down on this play.
Yeah, and you're right. It was 3rd down, and what the Eagles do, just look at the front. It's really interesting. They have 3 defensive linemen here aligned to one side of the offensive center. Now, normally when you see that, there's a stunt involved. But the Eagles don't stunt here. They're just creating one-on-one matchups. That's the first part of this, because you're going to end up with Chris Long matched one-on-one on the right tackle Newhouse. That's what you're going to get eventually here. But there's another part of this which is really interesting. It's a coverage we call one robber, because they're going to play man-to-man here. But what they're going to do is they're going to take McLeod right here, and he's going to drop right into the middle. And I believe this is Corey Graham, who's going to go into the deep middle. So what you have is McLeod dropping right here into sort of the intermediate to shallow middle. He's the robber. That's what it's called, a lurk defender or a robber. So the coverage is called one robber, and that's critical because what you try to do with this coverage is force all routes into the middle, because that's where you have both a short to intermediate defender and a deep defender. So that's the premise of the defense. So let's clear it. Keep trying to keep all that in mind. You run this, and we can see Carr drops back. He looks left, frees it right about here. See what's happening now. You can see outside leverage, forcing him into the middle. Everybody's forcing inside because that's where the strength of the coverage is. And there's McLeod. He's the robber. So now Carr does not have a clean throw. And what do we say about the one-on-one matchup? There it is right in front of you. There's the matchup of Long on Newhouse, shoving him back. Newhouse oversets a little bit here to prevent the outside rush. What happens? Long goes inside of him, sacks Carr, and then it's Jenkins who makes a great play here. But this was third down. Really good job by the Eagles defense.
And again, the Eagles defense coming up with another key turnover when the Raiders are facing really good field position, the ability to go up and take a lead. The defense comes up with another stop here. Again, gets the ball back to the offense. It's a 10-10 game. Not exactly the scoring drive we were hoping for on the back end of it, but keeps the Eagles in the game. So we've now shown 2 Eagles defensive turnovers. How about a third here for a little Christmas miracle? Ronald Darby coming up with a huge play in a key situation for the Eagles. Again, punting back to the Raiders. The Raiders knocking on the door, about to cross midfield. You need a big play, and Ronald Darby comes up with one to get the Eagles in great field position to set up the game-winning field goal.
And this was a really good play by Darby, because what you're going to get here, it's a concept right here with 2 receivers, right here and right here, and that's Cooper down below, the split receiver outside the numbers. They're going to run double slants, basically. But let's focus on Cooper and Darby right here. That's what we want to do, because what happens here, and just re-tee it up, is Cooper does, in his mind, a great job. What he's trying to do is widen Darby with his vertical stem off the line of scrimmage, so Darby widens a little, so then when he cuts back in on his slant, he's created some space and separation. That's exactly what Cooper's trying to do. Darby right here, freeze it. Darby never ever goes outside with Cooper. He stays inside as if he knew what route was coming. Maybe he did. But the point is, he never widened and expanded, which Cooper wanted him to do. So right here, you see that he has position. He looks like the receiver here. He's in better position to make the catch than Cooper. That's an outstanding job by Ronald Darby. That is really high-level corner play, and that was really an important part of the game.
And you would think after giving up some of these big plays on double moves that maybe the Eagles defensive backs maybe a little bit gun-shy on jumping on a quick route like that, and especially in a key situation.
Have to have amnesia, Fran.
That's right.
Got to play.
You see the discipline. He's able to
jump
that route.
Keep your technique. Stay controlled. That's exactly what Darby did.
So the Eagles defense comes up huge in this game. Now that sets up the game-winning field goal there by Jake Elliott. The Eagles end up winning this game 19-10, again off a defensive touchdown to add on at the end of the game. A ton of turnovers in this game for this Eagles defense. You talked about it earlier. Just a great performance by this group.
Really good performance. And normally when we do this with the All-22, we show a lot of offensive plays. Not this week, but the bottom line is they get a win. You have to be able to win different ways in the NFL. This now gives the Eagles the bye all through the playoffs. Hopefully they can use that bye all through the playoffs.
Yes, hopefully. So now you get the bye next week after the Dallas game in Week 17. It's a huge
home field, that's the critical part. Home field.
That's exactly right. Now the Eagles are in a situation where it's not about how you win, You got to win the
gotta
next
win.
game. Win the next one. So
Survive and advance.
go to the divisional round.
Yep.
Hopefully go 1-0 in that week, depending on who that opponent is. So great stuff from the Eagles defense again tonight. And for more previewing the matchup as the Eagles get ready to go on to the playoffs, stay tuned for more right here on PhiladelphiaEagles.com.